Hi, Steve Gamache here for another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review. And what we have this time is the Yusaku Aogami or Blue number 2 Nashiji Bunka 180mm knife. So this knife has 3 layers in its construction. It's all reactive. There's no stainless or semi-stainless anywhere. But what the composition or the construction is Aogami or Blue paper number 2 reactive high carbon steel with soft iron reactive cladding over the top of that. There's what they call a Nashiji or a pear skin kind of mottled finish over as part of the main part of the blade until it starts getting ground down towards the edge. You can see that. And they've got a kind of a sandblasted Kasumi type finish on there, and you can see the core steel, the shiny core steel peeking out there from the cladding. And so this knife is all reactive. What's kind of interesting is some knives, the cladding comes over the top of the spine and covers the whole thing. Here, this cladding comes up the sides, but it does not cover the spine. So you'll see that center core steel right there along the knife. Pretty neat. So you can see that 3-layer construction. The weight and dimensions can vary a little bit from knife to knife, but this particular one is 154 grams or 5.4 ounces. The edge length is about 185, measured from the tip to the back of the heel. And then the overall length is about 13 inches, 332 millimeters with this handle. The spine thickness, it's a little thicker coming out of the handle, and this one's about 3.1 millimeters right there. And these will vary a little bit again from knife to knife, but it thins out pretty quick. And I got about 2.1 millimeters halfway down. And then this style of blade has that reverse sword tip, so you get that corner. And there's usually not a lot of taper in the thickness. There's a little bit less thickness, but then you'll see the tip is nice and skinny. It thins out really well to the tip. A pretty generous grind down towards the edge. And then it's also thin at the edge as well. So this is a very nicely ground blade with some high performance characteristics to it. Blade height is 47 millimeters at the back, so plenty of height for your finger to go right here for a pinch grip. They've got a nice neck, kind of a thin neck here in front of the handle, and there's a good spot there for your finger for a pinch grip. And the handle, speaking of that, is octagonal, what they call oak urushi handle. It's got a nice kind of transitional finish there, and they've done a fair amount of epoxy or sealer on there, so this is really well. This is not normally seen too much, but this is really nice. It very much seals that junction there so you don't get any moisture in there. Let's see, the balance point is about right there with this handle, so it's going to be a little bit behind or towards the handle from a pinch grip perspective, but it's still pretty neutral feeling. Obviously, it's pretty light, 5.4 ounces. If you racket grip or you hold your grip a little further back, it'll have a little bit more weight forward balance bias depending on where you grip it. The fit and finish is nicely done on this. They've taken some care in the craftsmanship. The blades are nice and straight, and the grinds are clean. This had a pretty nice edge. I'll give it a 6 out of 10 on my scale out of the box. Let's get our beauty shot on this. This does have hand engraved or chiseled kanji on the right side of the blade as you'd be using it and holding it. It's becoming a little less common these days. Laser engraved kanji is becoming more and more common. So this is nice to see on this. You'll see that mottled Nashiji or pear skin finish to it. And then here's the left side of the blade as you'd be holding it. And there's some embossed kanji right there. But again, nice looking blade, nice fit and finish on it. They've done a little bit of relief at the corners of the spine. They've done a nice job of relieving this back of the blade called the choil into the neck here on both sides, so it's very comfortable out of the box. Again, well-crafted blade. What else here? I think all we have to do is the cutting board demo. Take a look at this. Here we go. So this is what it looks like on the cutting board. And as with most knives of this style, the tip is fairly low to the knife center line. And so it's not, these tend not to be rockers, but let's see, I'm digging this one in pretty quick. So the tip on this is actually quite low. And so we're not going to call this a rocker profile, but this edge profile definitely has a low kind of belly to it, fairly flat towards the back third of the blade, maybe half of the blade, 40% of the blade. And so you should be able to push, pull, chop, cut with this quite well. Tip draws would be great because you don't have to lift the blade very high to draw the tip through product, and that's a nice technique for certain types of product. And so, not a rocker, but this will do a lot of other things well. It's well crafted, great steel. This will stay sharp a pretty long time and will be easy to sharpen and develop a nice patina as you start to work with it in the kitchen and get that protective oxidation layer on it. So, just a very nice package. So this is the Yusaku Awagami or Blue No. 2 Nashiji Bunka 180mm knife.